Good morning. Welcome everyone to the November 2018 EDA meeting. I am not Kathy Revel. Ms. Revel could not be here this morning. Mr. Kelly could not be here this morning. So I believe Robert's Rules of Order, Robert's in charge for at least the first 5 minutes. So what we will do is have from a procedural standpoint, we'll have a roll call, and then it would be up to the board to determine, correct me if I'm wrong, how they would move forward as far as who would be chair of the meeting. All right? So we'll start off with Mr. Hines.
Present.
Ms. Jiggets.
Here.
Mr. Kelly. Ms. Link.
Here.
Mr. Mitchell. Ms. Revel. Mr. Scott.
Present.
So we have a quorum.
Okay, point of order, if we can just reference in the minutes due to emergency family issues for our chairperson, Revel, and our vice chair, Kelly. That is the reason why they're not here tonight.
So I will we will make sure that is notated.
Okay.
I will then yield to legal counsel to tell us the next rules of how this should.
I think you just take nominations for someone to chair the meeting, pro tem.
Okay.
So I accept nominations at this point.
I nominate Commissioner Scott to chair the meeting.
I second.
It's been cool up in here.
You showed up last, that's it. See, this is what you get for being late.
No coup. We just don't have no chairperson, no vice chair. Okay. So are you interested in chairing the meeting?
Yes.
All right. So then I just take a vote on that. So that would be Mr. Hines.
Yes.
Ms. Jiggets.
Yes.
Ms. Link.
Yes.
And Mr. Scott.
Yes.
All right. So Mr. Scott, you are the chair for this morning. So I will pass the gavel, or you can move. It's up to you.
I think he should move.
I'd like for you to move.
You'd like to
I'd like for you to move if you can.
Line of sight.
Which one? You gotta take all your toys and move now.
You said take all.
Take all his toys
He
and
said
move.
there's been a coup. I love it. It was great sitting next to you, Don. All right. I'll see you next month.
That's it. See you in a minute.
Tell him.
Here, let's grab his, yeah,
Yeah.
his name tag.
See you next month.
Yes, sir. You got some other things on the agenda, but those should move quickly once we go through closed session.
Don, you really need to bring your chair up. You look like a
I
little boy.
told him you need to adjust the chair. Don't ever listen to me.
Solomon Ashby?
That's right. You're right. I do take it low them up.
Put your chair up every time you leave. Oh, this is punishment.
The first item on the agenda is to go into closed session.
Yes.
Okay. Resolution of intent to meet in closed meeting, whereas the Virginia Freedom of Information Act provides that the Board of Commissioners may hold closed meetings for certain purposes set forth in paragraph 2.2-3711A of the Code of Virginia of 1950 as amended, and whereas in compliance with the requirements of the code, the topics to be discussed are set forth below, and the subparagraphs of paragraph 2.2-3711A authorizing discussion of the topics in closed session are set forth in parentheses after each topic. Now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Commissioners shall meet in closed meeting for the purpose of discussing disposition of publicly held real property interests where discussion in an open meeting would adversely affect the bargaining position or negotiating strategy of the public body, 602 Fifth Street, number 3, and for the purpose of consulting with legal counsel pertaining to actual or probable litigation, where such consultation in open meeting would adversely affect the negotiating or litigating posture of the public body, the Commons at Portsmouth Center 7.
Second. Need a second.
Second.
You've heard the motion. All in favor?
No, got the
I'm
roll
sorry.
call.
Got the roll call. I'm sorry.
You're new at this, that's fine. Mr. Hines,
Yes.
Ms. Jiggets,
Yes.
Ms. Link,
Yes.
and Mr. Scott.
Yes.
We are in closed session.
At the Robert's Rules.
12.d of the 1950 Code of Virginia as amended be included in the authority's minutes of this meeting. Whereas the authority has convened a closed meeting on this date pursuant to an affirmative recorded vote and in accordance with the provisions of the Virginia Freedom of Information Act. Now therefore be it hereby resolved that each commissioner, unless her or his prior contrary statement is in the minutes of this meeting, hereby certifies that to the best of his knowledge, only public business matters lawfully exempted from open meeting requirements under this chapter, and 2, only such public business matters as were identified in the motion by which closed meeting was convened were heard, discussed, or considered in the closed meeting by the commissioners. Adopted this 26th day of November 2018.
Second.
Right. Mr. Hines,
Yes.
Ms. Jiggets,
Yes.
Ms. Link,
Yes.
and Mr. Scott.
Yes.
All right, we are in open session.
Everybody had the opportunity to review the minutes?
Yes.
We're gonna take 5.
Oh, do we need
Let's
to?
take 5. She just stepped up. Ms.
Yeah.
Link just had
We're going to say we need a report here.
Has everybody had the opportunity to review the minutes?
Yes, and I make
Yes.
that one correction, and then I'll move to adopt. On page 2, when we say, when Ms. Edolph, is that how you pronounce it? Explained that the adjustment was necessary because the transaction happened on June 28th, which was just 3 days before the end of the fiscal year. It actually should be 2 days, shouldn't it? Because June has only 30 days. So that would be 2 days before the end of the fiscal year, if we make that correction in the minutes, please. And with that, I will move to adopt.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded.
All right, Mr. Hines,
Yes.
Ms. Jiggets.
Yes.
That's not gonna work. Ms. Link,
Yes.
Mr. Scott.
Yes.
Motion carries.
So we have to do 2 months of financials because
Yes.
we,
Didn't do September.
If I may, really with the September financial reports, the only thing that prevented it from being filed for audit was the question about the $6,572 charged to the grounds, and that was given a response to me for the September report.
Okay.
And it was correctly charged for 2 invoices, so
And that was the only issue that you had that did not be included?
that was the only one. So we can just move to file, not move, but we can just file the September report
Mr.
for
Chairman.
audit with the secretary.
Hold on one second.
Just one quick question. I think the other concern that was brought up at that meeting was
In September?
for the September financials was the acquisition costs as what was discussed in the audit.
What page are you on, sir?
I'm looking at page 4 of the financials regarding the new properties that we received from the,
The 19 properties?
yes,
For the-
were we not just supposed to actually have them listed in our financials
They
as?
are for October.
They're in October.
Yeah,
All right,
in
so I just
October.
didn't know if we needed to have them in September and in October was my question. Just to satisfy and check the boxes of the auditor at this point.
Put them in.
We do have a notice of October 31. It might be, I would suggest the actual day that we closed, that we changed the acquisition date, if it's not October 31st.
Right, so it was September 25th.
It was September 25th, so would that naturally show up on our October financials then, correct?
No, it's in October.
Right.
The breakdown
That's where it's supposed to
is
be.
there. The
That's fine,
breakdown is
okay.
there.
Thank you.
Handle it to October.
Perfectly fine with filing. Just wanted to make sure we got clarification on that.
Thank you, Commissioner Hines.
Thank you.
Let's go through October.
Yeah.
October, I will, there are very, very few changes from in the month of October. start out with if you flip to the statement of revenues and expenses and changes in net position. The only changes between the 2 months is we had $5,300 of economic development expenses. Those were, I think both of those were sponsorships. One, the Ports event, and another, the State of the Schools. Then there was $55,586. That's the monthly grounds expenditure. And then for income, we had $514 of industrial revenue bond fees and $722 of investment earnings, and then the property that we just discussed that was transferred to us from PRHA for $952,930 was the assessed value of that property. And so those changes, if we go back to the balance sheet, are reflected in the balance sheet. And so the only amount in accounts payable is the one ground maintenance invoice that has been received but not paid as of that date. So it was recorded as an expenditure, but it had not yet been paid. Go to pool cash. So the pooled cash, the amount with those changes, with those transactions that happened in the month of October, the pooled cash, which is the amount that the city, the use of the city's funds is $156,867, and so that money is due to the city at this point for that pooled cash.
And if we could just, under the pool cash reconciliation, beginning pool cash, it would be, it's only 30 days in September, so September 30th. Yeah,
Which page is you on?
September 31st. I'm on the actual last page for pool cash reconciliation.
Yeah, it's September 31st.
So if we can just, I'm
I'll
sure
see
that's
that.
probably something within the,
Oh, somebody
It's
September 30th.
Just typo.
and
I don't think so.
just so commissioners understand the flow of things, it was, I went over to the Department of Economic Development office, I think it was in September, and signed the wire transfer. And at that time, the wire transfer was for the amount, the $138,395.19. And then at the next quarter, as we go forward with our financials, there will be another amount that would need to be signed as a wire transfer
To
if
the
it's
city.
going to the city.
Okay.
So just to, that gives the flow of things.
Right. And the EDA temporarily uses city funds and then reimburses the city.
Sometimes y'all pay us. So anyway,
Okay.
any other questions?
Well, can we correct, if we're correcting dates, it says beginning pooled cash 9/31/18. There is no such thing as
Well, I
31.
just said that.
Okay.
Yeah.
It is.
Thank you.
I saw it on the other pages, and I'm like, well, here it is again.
I'm
Commissioner
sorry.
Hines.
On every
you didn't
page.
hear me. Yeah, I just said that.
Commissioner Hines.
Yeah, I've got no problems with the numbers piece of it, but if we could kind of look at page 3 where we talk about our unaudited development property for resale. This is kind of a useful tool for us when we sit here and look at the sale of property and the acquisition cost, that first line, when we actually then look at our total investment. Is there any way we can get that kind of broken out so that way when we start selling this property, especially these CBDG properties, we can know how much we have to get back to meet the appraised value? Is there any way we can put like maybe a note or something in there for these properties' values? Not necessarily, but maybe like a
19
note.
properties from PRHA.
That's correct. Because it's not necessarily for our needs, but for future boards. If they sit, they may not have that knowledge of how much each one of these properties cost.
Well, I think the answer to that question, that I don't think that's something we can put on the we could put the assessment certainly, but the value is based off either the assessment or an appraisal. So while if they come in with an appraisal that says it's $50,000 cheaper, we could go with that appraisal.
Sure.
So I'd hate to have that, and I lean to finance on this. I'd hate to have those numbers reflected in the books if that's not per se correct, because we just had this sort of discussion with regards to property at the end of the audit, with regards to what values should be going with properties. So I would say, while we can, staff can certainly provide a spreadsheet of what the assessed value would be on this property. I hate for it to show up on this because you don't sell it as that.
Sure, I understand that, but I think we just need to have that somewhere for the sake of, like you were talking about before, board train changeover, that type of thing. The next person that comes in and sits in my seat needs to know, have that information as well.
But we
In
can-
some way, shape, fashion, or form. That's all.
We can put together a separate spreadsheet, if you will, with those 19 properties and the
Perfect.
other
Thank you.
20 some odd properties that'll be coming at some point. But we will give you a spreadsheet with those assessed values so that you know that the property, for all intents and purposes, this is the value that's associated with the property as of now. That value could change based off the appraisal, and understanding that that money goes to
Right.
HUD. So whether you sell it, if the value is $250,000, you sell it for $500,000, $500,000 goes
Correct.
to HUD. So,
I think I'm agreeable to that. I just want to make sure that we have that documentation together for
we
it.
can do that.
Thank you.
I would like finance input on this. What is your opinion?
We can, and I have failed to recognize Mr. Waddell. Mr. Brian Waddell prepares our financial statements for us.
Thank you so much.
And he's sitting to my left. He's relayed to me that the column that says, in the middle of the page that says total asset value, we could change that to say assessed value, and we could list the assessments there.
That'll be great. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Would that
Thank
be,
you, ma'am.
would that be comparable for what the auditor
Yes.
probably would want done?
Yes.
Yep.
Because, in fact, for the adjustment we had to make in the June 30 financial statements, that's exactly what we did.
Today?
That's exactly what we
it was.
did.
Yeah.
So,
Now we keep coming back to
right,
that.
so we would do that.
Thank
Now,
you.
your opinion was you didn't want to do that necessarily.
I just wanted to be clear that while that may show up as the value, as the assessed value of the property,
That
if someone
change.
comes in with an appraisal, that amount could be different. So I just
Sure.
want to make sure that it's clear and clearly understood, that is not the cut and dry, that's it. That could be
And
something
that could
else.
be misleading.
I just want to make sure everyone is understanding that,
I
that's
think
all.
everybody's purchased, well, I don't want to make something, everybody that's ever bought a house, they know that there's an assessed value and then there's appraised value, and a lot of times they don't match.
Right.
Exactly right.
That would be the same thing.
We just change the heading.
Or if nothing else, maybe we can just put like a star next to them or something, saying they're CBDG. So there's something,
CBG property.
that maybe we can
Put an
star them as,
asterisk
just
next
put a
to
star next to them and say they're CBDG, so that way when we go, we just know we need to like
Let's just do
stop
that.
and look and say, okay, what is this assessed? What is its? I think there's just, people just need to understand that that's just not a standard property we can do with how we please to in terms of setting a value.
So what we'll
Let's go with the CDBG flagging it.
So what we'll do as a staff, we have a
On those
regular monthly
PRT
meeting.
19 properties.
We have a regular monthly meeting between the Economic Development and Finance, specifically for the various boards. So we will meet internally and figure out the best way to handle that.
Perfect.
And then come to the next meeting, we will have that prepared.
Yeah.
Thank
I
you
think
for
that's a good
considering that.
idea
I appreciate it.
To flag it, per Commissioner Hines, just to flag it CDBG. Because sometimes the further along you go, you tend to forget it's CDBG property. So just flagging it, I think, to summarize it, that would be more beneficial than anything, just to flag it CDBG.
Thank you.
I do have one final, I know, I'm sorry.
Oh, that's okay, that's
why you
what I want to
Getting you
do.
for lots of questions. The other concern is on the grants page. Is there, for the available to be awarded in fiscal year 19, is there any way we can capture what we've already awarded and committed to be subtracted around about the total available to be awarded?
Say that again?
All right, so we've actually done 4 awards: Monumental, Evan, AANG, Holiday, $2,000 for the for the hair designers, and then there's 3 in the interior build-out. But it says total available to be awarded is $298,000.
Gotcha. So you said the 2,000 is only what's actually been expended. It needs to probably be a high number because we've obligated.
We should have it encumbered a number, I think, so that way we can say it's 298 minus really what we've actually approved is 144,492.
Right.
So that way we can have a true, accurate number of when we start looking at these applications of what we truly have available to be awarded. Is that something we can adjust?
Let me just respond to that. I think the way it's set up now is the best way because in the column where it says remaining to be paid from the grants, you see that the total is the $69,972. And once it is actually paid, it will,
drops
in
down.
the available to be awarded, that will reduce that amount accordingly. Do you see where we're
So
talking about?
the information is there already.
It's there.
It's there, but do need to have some sort of subtracting mechanism so you don't walk in thinking you have $298,000 to award.
I don't think anybody would think that
we
because
realize
they'd already
that
see.
because it's got remaining to be paid from grants. It's right there.
If it's the will of the board, we can leave it as this, but
I mean, it's
just-
right there for you, the remaining to be paid from the grants. And then once it's paid out, then under the available to be awarded in FY 2019, then that amount will reduce based on how you want it to reduce.
I'm fine if everybody else thinks it's okay.
I hear what Commissioner Hines is saying, but the numbers it looks a little off. When you got the remaining to be paid, it has 69,972, but then it says the facade improvement that was granted was 93,232, and if 93,232 has already been granted, and
That's already paid out here.
but then shouldn't it be 93,232 minus 2,000, and shouldn't that number down there be something like 91,000? The number down on the
No, what they've done, they've added up what we've approved. See the approved
holiday
amounts?
motors hadn't been approved.
No, see the approved amounts for that
Yeah, that's
93,000?
93, right.
And then you have the approved amount for this safety and security grant of 2,000.
Right.
And together, that
It's
makes
95.
the 95.
Okay.
So,
But-
I'm missing your question.
That's even more of a question, but go ahead. Tracy.
I was going to say, so Holiday Motors and Farm Fresh, which we approved, are not listed on here at all. And I think that's the problem, the disconnect is that
That I'm having.
we have a bucket of money that's very specific for this purpose, and none of that is reflected on this report. There is no, we set aside $10,000 for an interior build-out grant for Farm Fresh.
Farm Fresh is
Farm Fresh is on there.
reflected.
Look at the bottom. Interior build out.
Yeah, Farm Fresh is
it's-
reflected.
It's right here, of 155,232.
Okay, then I'm looking on a
Farm
different
Fresh,
page. See, this is where.
10,000.
Program awarded.
Approved
Amount
1,000
approved.
on
Why is
that.
it different?
But see, here's the other question is, under that same Farm Fresh, it shows $1,000 and not $10,000.
That might be a typo.
It was approved.
That's how much they've
Yeah, that's why
drawn.
it's not, so it's 10,000. That's supposed to be a 10,000.
That should be
Yeah,
$10,000.
Where's that
That's true,
page?
that should be 10.
So can we just correct this report, this entire piece, and then we can maybe come back to next?
Let's go back next month for
So
this one.
I prefer we just approve the rest of it and take this one particular document out and put
just
that,
hold it.
and withhold it.
Just hold
Is that
it.
okay? Or do you want to hold it? Treasurer, you the treasurer. What would you prefer, to hold the entire October report?
I don't think we have to hold the entire report. We're filing it for audit with the correction.
Okay.
Does that work for everybody?
Okay.
Does that work for you,
I'm set.
Commissioner Hines?
Thanks for
With the
pointing that out. I didn't
correction
see that.
for, instead of the 1,000 for the Farm Fresh. We do see Farm Fresh up there, correct?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Tracy, do you see the Farm Fresh?
Yeah, I was on a different,
You're on a different page?
I was on this page.
Okay, okay.
Looking at that, and it doesn't look like, okay.
Do you see,
What page are you on that you don't see the reflection that you think should be there?
September.
Commissioner Scott.
Hold on one second. So, subject to audit, you're corrected. And then next month, when we see November's number, all this should be tight. We don't have to go back to October. We'll see everything reflected in November's number.
Yes.
Thank you. Mr. Hines?
I think the chair's ruled.
I don't think you're going to, I don't think you're going to miss this again. We're going to be looking for this, so y'all might want to make sure this
My
is
mistake.
accurate. Okay? All right.
I did that.
Old business?
Are we all clear on that?
Oh, my, you, as clear as you're going to be.
If it's okay, I'd actually
Finance, you're
like
clear on
to, I'll ask Chairman Revel, but I'd like to talk with
movement
staff
there.
about
Okay.
this a little bit.
I don't have a problem with it.
If you're okay with that, Robert. I just have a couple of questions I can ask offline.
That's fine.
Okay, thank you.
With that said, with the corrections for the Farm Fresh, for the October's report, I move that we file it for audit with the secretary. And it's not a motion.
Not a motion,
I
it's
just recommend that we're just gonna go ahead and file it for audit, okay?
Okay.
All right. Old business.
Old business. First, it says on here Small Business Week, which was Veteran Small Business Week. That was a proclamation that was done by City Council. Veteran Small Business Week was November 5th through the 9th. And so we took the time out, council took the time out to acknowledge and celebrate our veteran small businesses, which you can imagine in Portsmouth. We have a number of those here in our city. We have several small businesses just within our EDA membership. We also had, which is not on this list, we also had Small Business Saturday and a proclamation for that, for Shop Small. That was just this past Saturday. Again, it certainly makes sense because we have almost 2,000 small businesses in the city of Portsmouth. So we just wanted to take the time out. We have the one here from the Veteran Small Business Week. We have another one in our office for Small Business Saturday. I'd like to thank Commissioner Link for being there for both ceremonies that week, for the last couple council meetings, as well as Commissioner Jiggets, and Chair Revel was there as well. That leads us into the next item, if that's okay, Mr. Chairman. We need to discuss the December meeting. The December meeting is December the 18th. A week before Christmas. Like to get the appetite of the board as to whether or not they would like to have the meeting. And again, it's set for December 18th. As far as an agenda, we don't have an agenda as of yet. Unless some applications come in, I don't see us having per se anything specifically to speak of.
Commissioner Hines?
My feeling is that we should probably delay the meeting or not have the meeting. And then maybe we can have a called meeting if Mr. Moore has anything pressing. That's been kind of what we've done in the past.
Yes.
Commissioner Link?
I agree with Anthony.
Commissioner Jiggets?
I would agree with that.
Okay, well
We need
then,
to vote.
will you want to have your office just send out an email just to remind everyone
We will.
that meeting will be canceled or called as needed? Because we do have some things going on, so we
Certainly.
might want to be
We may just want to be flexible.
Right.
Yes.
So
Just wanna
maybe
be
let's keep
flexible.
sending that out. If there's a need to have a call meeting, we
Yes.
will. I would ask everybody just to hold that on their calendar because that's the most likely date that people already
Yes.
have free.
Yes.
So if we do need to come and vote on something based on what city council does,
We would shoot for that day, yes, sir.
You gonna send something out to that effect?
Yes.
I think that date would actually fall before the 18th, though, if I remember Attorney Ashby.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
We probably have to start looking for a date before that.
okay. You might want to do that.
We can do that. We'll withdraw.
Okay. New business. Do we want to do these FIG applications?
Yeah, new business, we want to quickly tell you about, as we talked about, the some of the LIP applications that we have, the local incentive program applications. I'll have to turn it over to Mr. Brian Donahue.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning.
You have two LIP applications before you this morning. The first is for Yolks on Us at 515 Washington Street. You have in your package as well some additional information included, which is essentially the application and their supporting documents. We have determined there are eligible funds in the amount of $10,925 that we are able to assist Yolks on Us with. That represents 50% of their project cost with a 15% contingency amount, which is what the board does allow for. The work that they are proposing includes exterior masonry work. They're essentially covering the total exterior with stonework. There is some painting that is going to be done and installation of signage as well. Unless there are any questions, I'm going to move on to the next applicant.
Is that your recommendation that we,
Staff is recommending for approval for this project, yes.
If I may add one thing, they have an amazing breakfast if you haven't been there. They really
Chicken and
do. It is,
waffles.
the chicken and waffles is fantastic. So I went there a couple weeks ago, and great service, great food. It was very good.
all right, cool.
I move that we approve this application.
I second.
Call the roll, Mr.
Yes, sir. So, Mr. Hines,
Yes.
Ms. Jiggets,
Yes.
Ms. Link,
Yes.
Mr. Scott.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Your next application is from Lynx Industries at 2600 Airline Boulevard. They're one of our larger companies here in Portsmouth. They are a manufacturer of rigid ductwork materials. They are a nationally recognized industry leader, and they serve the entire country. They are proposing to do some exterior work to include the painting of the building. If you note from the picture, it's two tones right now. There's unfinished brick and then a painted white portion that fronts Airline at Victory. They're looking to paint all of that to match and also make some lighting improvements with LED efficient lighting as well. Looks like it has not been painted for a good number of years, so this will be a nice improvement for them. We've determined we can assist with a $4,721 grant for their work, and we are recommending approval of this application.
Quickly, while normally that would be an administrative approval based off the between two
dollar amount?
commissioners because of the dollar amount, we did bring it before the board because you all were meeting. So it sort of, instead of taking 48 hours, we figured it would just work towards everyone's advantage to just get it done here today. So.
Yes, sir.
So I move that we adopt that or approve that.
I second.
All right, Mr. Hines,
Yes.
Ms. Jiggets,
Yes.
Ms. Link,
Yes.
Mr. Scott.
Yes.
All right, motion carries.
I do have a question now.
Yes.
I just would like to know, how is the department marketing the grant program now? I'm just curious how, the message is getting out.
Well, I'll answer that question. Anytime we speak to a business, and I don't want to give too much away, tonight I will be giving our economic development investment update to City Council at work session. But I can tell you we've met with 83 existing businesses since July 1. And I think it shows in the numbers. You potentially will be out of money come January, February, with regards to the LIP program. Whereas this time last year, you hadn't spent half the money. So I think that from a standpoint of marketing, we have made sure that this is in front of our existing businesses. Matter of fact, this came from meeting with Lynx on an existing business just to make sure that they didn't need anything. They really didn't need anything from a business standpoint. They just thought this opportunity is there. We can clean it up. We can make it look better. But I believe what we've done is we've made sure that when we meet with our existing businesses and even our new businesses that we are pursuing, if you will, we've made sure that we've had this in front of them. And again, I think the proof is in the pudding. It is working. So.
At this point, we don't have any actual brochures to give out, or do we?
we don't have any brochures to give out, no.
Okay.
What we have done is we make sure when we attend these meetings and set up these meetings with these various companies, we have everything electronically. So it's just a matter of a thumb drive. We have several Access Portsmouth thumb drives that has all the information about Portsmouth. Not too many people want paper because it ends up in somebody's desk or somebody's trash somewhere. But when you have that thumb drive, they have the forms that can be filled out electronically, emailed in. We're all set.
And that's what you found to be the most beneficial with
Yes.
the business community?
The most beneficial is being right in front of them, mailing something in or mailing out information. Certainly we could do that. There's a cost to that, and that's not a problem. The concern is that while you may mail it to 50,000 businesses, for example, the ones that may actually read it, you want to hope to get 10% of those individuals. That's 5,000. You want to hope 10% of those respond. That's 500. If you get 1%, that's 50. You don't have enough money for all those folks. So we've tried to make sure that we've targeted this as well. So you will notice that a number of the individual businesses that have utilized these so far have been long-standing businesses in the city of Portsmouth. Holiday Motors, Lynx, AA&G, for example. Let me name another one. Not Yokes on Us. That building has been there for a while. The Quarters at Parkview. I mean, you've got a number of different businesses that are utilizing this. And again, like I said, I think it's working.
And I was advocating that we do a mail out. I was thinking more that if we could have some brochures, particularly for the commissioners, that as we patronize different businesses, there might be an opportunity just to leave behind a collateral piece.
We can look into that. We can talk
I
to
was
our
going to
marketing
say,
folks.
I leave your cards.
I think
Or a
the best
thumb
thing is-
drive. I
the
make
best
sure
thing
if I
is-
talk to a business, I always let them know to reach out to you
we
in
feel
your
the best is
office.
for them
So.
to talk to us. We can certainly talk to our marketing department and marketing folks to
Nothing,
see.
expensive, but it would be good for the commissioners just to have some with them as we go about our daily business, and it becomes a way for us to engage in the process of economic development, just to have the piece, a couple of them, with you, if it's not going to be cost
We can
prohibitive.
certainly do that, and in the meantime, I would say just give out our cards, and we'll handle it from there. But we will certainly look to put that together.
But then I need some cards.
Right, that's a good segue into our last.
If I could just make one real quick comment. I just want to thank you for being proactive, because that's you can see that was a proactive call on an
Absolutely.
existing business. So I just want to just give kudos to you and your staff, because that's something that we've needed for some time now.
Mr.
So thank
Donahue
you.
and Mr. Smith have done a great job in reaching out to the businesses
Yes, I can
again.
tell that.
83
Thank
businesses in since July 1 that's a huge amount. And again, as long as you all keep approving, we'll keep giving you out funding. We'll keep going from there.
But thank you. That's well needed.
You're welcome. Thank you. The next item is just the safety and security grants. We want to make sure you all are aware of these while you all approve formally in some way, form, or fashion the FIG and the interior build out. The safety and security and the windows of opportunity are ones that I approve administratively as secretary for the EDA. So we have had a number of those come through. Mr. Donahue, I will tell you, has been our kind of LIP program liaison and guru. We have a number of those that have come through, but we just want to make you all aware that while you see these large numbers, there are smaller numbers as well that are coming out. So.
Is there a way we can maybe get like some sort of 6-month report of what we've done, maybe some before and afters, just to show that we, for our viewing public that watches these videos, to show that economic development is very active.
We are working on something like that because we are putting together our I hate to say annual report, but our economic development update that we are now doing every year. So we will have something like that. We anticipate having something like that finished right around February, and potentially in time for you all's normal retreat.
That would be cool. Because
That would be great.
And I think, what you're saying about them being proactive, I mean, you see this guy everywhere. And what you're seeing is the return on investment of that energy. And before we finish up, I kind of wanted to touch on that, but I wanted to go through as we end the agenda. Is there anything that anybody has before we close?
I
Commissioner
was just wanting to review, because I think I had made note of something.
While she looks for that, Commissioner Hines, you have anything for the good of the body?
No, sir, I think I'm good. Appreciate it.
Commissioner Lewis?
I just want to point out there were a lot of us at the opening of Farm Fresh
Yes.
earlier in November, and we are very glad to have them back and doing business in our community. And the chicken line was about 2 hours long the entire opening day, but it was good to see everybody's faces out there that got a chance to attend, and they seem to be up and running with a bang.
Yes. Yes.
Commissioner Jacobs?
Yes. Just to piggyback on what you said, Tracy, part of my seafood Thanksgiving dinner, I got fresh cod from Farm Fresh, and it was delicious. And the other thing I wanted to mention, actually, Robert, it's
Yes.
about your, I saw the inaugural episode, Let's Talk Business.
Yeah.
I loved it.
Good,
Will there be
good.
more episodes?
There will be more episodes, and so we have done a number of different things. Just very quickly, again, I don't want to steal from the night, but we have done a number of things to be different in economic development. We are working on a new economic development talk show, and you saw kind of the teaser pilot situation of Let's Talk Business, where we highlight a lot of the things that we have going on in our office, with our staff, with our various boards. You may have also seen, or maybe have not seen, I was recently on Coastal Live with an opportunity to really push our message from an economic development standpoint. Again, I would say tune in tonight. I believe I'm the first speaker to talk about our update. We have some exciting, what I consider to be exciting news about what we're doing in economic development. So
That'll be in City Council.
that'll be City Council work session tonight at 6. Don't everybody show up.
And again, I want to just close with saying, we thank Robert for the work that he's doing and the staff. And I think what Commissioner Hines was talking about is how do we continue to document the return on investment that we're making with the Windows Opportunity Program, with the security grants. We need to safety and security grants. We need to put that down there. Goodness gracious, Lord help me. Anyway, thank you. Sorry about that. So we can just continue to support Robin and his team. And I think, I don't know how they're doing it with the team that they have, because they don't have as many people as they should be. So we really need to stress and hopefully monitor and stay on Robert to get his staff fully staffed, because they're not fully staffed. So I'm constantly on him to get fully staffed. If we can do this much with this little bit, imagine what we could do if we were fully staffed. We have the capacity. We've made that investment. We've helped them move down. We've asked economic development to go to the next level. Now we got to make sure that we're supporting them and getting the win, get them the team that they need on board. So I would just ask all of the commissioners to kind of talk to the people that you liaison with. We get the team that we need around Robert. And that's all I have. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So
Second.
moved.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.